Hey y'all, it's Katie and welcome back to KateMas. Today I have my palette Palooza reviews for the month of November. I was able to get through and test out a total of 5 palettes. So I have my reviews all compiled. I have the looks saved from them that I did this past month. And I have set it up in a ranking sort of fashion going. We're going to start with my least favorite palette from the month and work our way up all the way to my most favorite palette. So you guys always seem to enjoy when I do it in that manner. So we're going to stick to that and do that today. But before we dive in, I do want to say there is a giveaway going on for this month of December. If you want to check out how to enter, there's going to be 3 different winners, open international. I'll have the link up here and it's always the first link in my description box. But yeah, let's go ahead and just dive right in and start talking about some palettes. Alright, so the palette that came in at the bottom for the 5 palettes that I tried this month is the Dominique Cosmetics Sweater Weather Palette. It's a collection, so I don't even know what to call this because you can't get this palette by itself, but it does come with this palette with 6 matte shadows and then 2 mini liquid lipsticks, which I haven't fully tested, but I'm not a fan of the gloss, so I'm hoping for better things with the liquid lipstick. But anyway, we're just going to talk about the palette today. And honestly, the color selection is one of the points that kind of made it go lower in my ranking. For me personally, again, keep in mind that when I'm ranking and reviewing this is for my personal preference, not only for the quality of the eyeshadows and like how easy they were to blend, how they wore throughout the day, but also color preference as well. And this color story just isn't something I'm personally super into. But with that said, I was able to wear it a handful of times. I want to say like 4 or 5. I did try it during the last month, November, but also in October. I did a look on my sister-in-law using this palette, which I totally forgot to take a picture of. So I have given this a fair number of uses, a fair number of different type of looks. And overall, I'm not wowed by it, but I don't think it's terrible. Like the quality of these matte eyeshadows is okay. Now, I'm not someone who's ever had experience with Dominique Cosmetics eyeshadows in the past, so this was my first kind of intro to her eyeshadow, her matte eyeshadow formula, because everything in here is matte. Overall, I feel like her matte eyeshadow is a very nice formula, but something I noticed specifically with these two, just because they were the darker colors, I was trying to blend into lighter colors, but I just felt like her matte eyeshadows don't like to blend into each other very seamlessly. Something I noticed is whichever color you lay down first, however far you take it, even if you go, like there's one day I did this all over my lid and then I wanted to blend this dark shade into it, or maybe it was this dark shade. Like I said, I'm going to have looks going on in the screen, so you probably will have already seen it, but wherever I stopped with this color, it was pretty hard to get the dark shade to blend into it and kind of create a seamless ombre look without there being a harsh line of where like one color stopped and the other color, you know, was trying to butt into it, if that makes sense. Like it took a lot of work, a lot of blending, a lot of back and forth with the 2 different colors to try to get that seamless type of blend and make sure there was no skipping, there was no harsh line, that sort of thing. So that's something I noticed with her matte eyeshadows. Now, it's nothing really bad. Like as you guys saw from the looks, I feel like they don't look terrible, but for me personally, when I would be doing my looks, when I would like check in on my looks throughout the day, I just felt like I would have been more happy if I could have gotten a little bit of a better blend, a little bit more of a seamless kind of ombre between colors, especially whatever color was on the lid and then my outer corner. I just felt like I was never quite happy with it. So that is honestly the biggest reason that I kind of docked points, or the biggest letdown about this palette for me personally was just that it wasn't the easiest to blend and just took a little bit more. And even when I was done and left my makeup table, there was always just a little part of me that wasn't happy with something that had to do with the blending of these matte eyeshadows. But with that said, the wear time is really nice. The color story is really pretty if you are into these type of colors. But overall, like I said, it's a nice palette. It's okay. It came in at the bottom because of the little issues I had with it. But overall, I mean, you know, if you like this color story, if you are very fair, if this is something you can foresee yourself getting a lot of really simple all matte looks, I do think it's a nice palette to have. I want to say it's $35, so maybe wait till, you know, later in the season, because this is a holiday collection. Maybe it'll go on sale and then it would be worth it. But I don't know, my first intro to Dominique Cosmetics didn't blow my socks off, but it didn't scare me away from the brand either. I have her Celestial Storm that I got in a BoxyCharm waiting for me to use, so I'm hoping for better things with that. But yeah, overall, this was okay. I did do eye swatches of it, which you can see. I'll leave it linked up here if you want to see how each of these shadows perform on the eyelid, you know, by themselves, just being blended in. But yeah, it's okay. Okay, so moving into 4th place, this is the Colourpop Just My Luck palette. I'm sure you guys all know what it looks like. I did a get ready with me type of look, a tutorial. It wasn't a first impressions because it was the second time I used this palette, but I'll leave that linked up here if you're curious to see how that went because it didn't go well. I'll just kind of spoiler alert there. I had a very interesting time with, what's it called, Mobamba. It was really weird. Just go watch the video. Basically, I was packing it on and then all of a sudden it just started almost basically coming off, and then when I tried to pack more stuff on the bald spot that was forming, it wouldn't stick, and I kept trying to fix it with like concealer and different things, and it just would not stick on my eyelids, on my outer corners that day. So I tried it again another day. I think I only did 3 looks with this palette, I want to say, maybe 4. I know I have 3 pictures. I felt like I did like a super simple look one day that I forgot to take a picture, but anyway, 3 to 4 looks. And so the last time I used it, I made sure to use Mobamba, and then I think I used like this really lightly in my crease with this on my lid. And I still experience that. Not as bad as what showed in that video that day where it was just really balding, but as I was using it, I could tell I needed to stop messing with it and stop trying to pack it on and blend it, or it was starting to do the same thing. So I was very light. I didn't really pack on. I did more of just like slowly building and blending it to kind of get the color that I wanted, and I didn't have as much problem with it. But like I said, I could still see it was wanting to pull that way of kind of patching off. If I was trying to pack it on too much, it would have ended up being the same story. So definitely a little something interesting with that Mobamba shade. If you have it, if you've had problems like that, try not packing it on and just very lightly kind of buffing and building it up to get the color you want, which is a little annoying for me because like if I'm going to use this dark of a shade, it's going to be in my outer corner, and typically I just pack on the color in the outer corner and then just blend the edges, and it's just quick and easy. So anyway, that shade is a little finicky, and honestly one of the reasons it kind of dropped in my ranking for this past month. But moving on from that shadow, pretty much everything else in this palette was a pretty big hit. The Mary Jane, this is absolutely gorgeous. Like, wow, it is stunning. And even this shade, what is it called? Olive You? This one, I don't know why, I just didn't expect it to be that pretty, but it's stunning. It's really, really pretty. Like I said, I did it all over my lid one day. I was like, ooh, that's a lot prettier than I was expecting. And they swatch really nicely. They're very easy to apply on the lids, these shimmers. The chances are this matte shade here doesn't do anything on my eyes. Like, I can put it on there and get it to show up to some extent, but the minute you start blending anything around it, the minute you just touch it, and if you just leave it alone for a couple hours, I feel like it just disappears off your skin. And it might just be the color it is, because it is a very like pastel, barely there color, but I wasn't impressed with that at all. That's one that's like, next time I go reach for this, there's just no point in using that shade, unless maybe to like help blend out another one of these matte colors. There's just really no point to it because it just doesn't want to stick, and it's so pale and it doesn't build up. So that was a bit of a disappointment, but the other mattes were really pretty, and overall, it's a nice palette, and for the price, I do also think that it's, you know, it's a nice one to grab if you're wanting a palette that has these tones. I did appreciate the versatility of looks I could get. While this is a very monochromatic look, I still felt like I got a variety of shadows. Like I could have, if I had one more brown, you could go to super neutral and just do these two with a lighter brown to blend it out, and boom, you have that, or you could keep to the minty green. This shade really brings something special to the palette, and honestly is like kind of the winner and the reason this palette won't be going anywhere in my collection is because that shadow right there is just so amazing, so unique, and so beautiful. I really love having it in my collection, and yeah, I can foresee myself reaching back in here into this palette for that color specifically. But overall, quality-wise, I do think it was really nice. I had no issues with wear time throughout the day, had no issues with blending with any of the other shadows except for this one. And this one, like I said, the brown was fine. I didn't have any issues with that. And the metallics are really pretty. They glide on so effortlessly. They take no work to build up. They transfer right on. No problems there. And they do need a glitter glue to really adhere and not transfer too much up into the crease. And if you have very hooded eyelids, I think that these type of metallics are going to be ones that transfer up anyway, but glitter glue helps a little bit. At least it does for me. It'll still transfer by the end of the day, but not too badly and whatnot. So anyway, overall, it was a really nice palette, but those little cons, those little issues with the specific shadows is kind of what made it drop down to the 4th spot for me from this past month. Coming in at the 3rd spot is Midas Cosmetics Lemonade palette, because I had absolutely so much fun with yellows this month. It was such a good time, and I feel like I have so many videos from this past month or just recently posted that I recorded ahead of time with me wearing yellow eyeshadows, and it's from this palette each and every time. I felt like all the looks, while yes, they were all similar because this is a monochromatic yellow palette look, I felt like I was still able to get different types of yellow looks from it, and I just had a blast. I really enjoy yellow, and this palette kind of gave it all to me with what I was wanting when I wanted to just embrace the yellow this past month. I was able to fully do that with this and do it so easily because the quality of Midas Cosmetics I feel like is just really, really nice. They're nothing like as super intense and pigmented and just rich as like Colored Raine or Menagerie Cosmetics, but they are so smooth and so pigmented that they're extremely easy to work with and build up to the intensity that you see in the palette. This was definitely a favorite of mine. It's a matte, almost neon yellow. It's just such a vibrant, bright yellow. And even when you put it on like no base, it's still really beautiful, but I definitely think with something this bright and vibrant, I would definitely put it on top of a base just to give it all of the help it needs, and it builds up on itself so nicely. And that is what I love about Midas Cosmetics eyeshadows, is that they are just very easy and effortless to build up and get the intensity that you want. I've never had any issues with the Midas Cosmetics matte formula blending into each other. They blend so seamlessly, so beautifully, and their metallic formula is also really nice. Like this shadow right here, I guess they all have names. It's on the back. I've never really stopped to look at it. I think it's called Zesty, but this, look at that. I used this shade specifically as a face highlight one day. I forget which one. It was a video, but it was, you know, for a video. So if I can remember, I'll leave it linked up here. But I thought it was really pretty as a face highlight, and it's absolutely gorgeous for an inner corner highlight. I used it so many days as an inner corner highlight. I used it one day all over my lid. It was definitely a shimmer formula that I love to come to. And yeah, overall, I was just super impressed. This shade up here was also really pretty. And then, oh, this one is also gorgeous. I mean, they're all beautiful. But if you are wanting a true monochromatic yellow palette, I say look no farther than the Lemonade palette from Midas Cosmetics, because it really gives it to you. Even this brown has just something about it that just harmonizes these yellows so beautifully. I absolutely loved it. And this really dirty mustard color was also a lot of fun to use. Wear time I didn't have any problems with. It stayed really well. Some glitter glue really did help keep it out of my crease. Honestly, by the end of the day, maybe there was a little transfer, but if I use glitter glue, it pretty much, the shimmer formula here pretty much stays wherever you put it throughout the whole day, which is something I love and something that, you know, you don't find too often when you have really metallic formulas. Overall, just super impressed with Midas Cosmetics. I am affiliated with them, so if you look at the links down below, they are affiliate links. So anyway, but even before I was an affiliate with them, I tried their La Dolce Vita palette, which is kind of how I became an affiliate of theirs because I love that palette so much. So that's kind of how that all came about. But overall, this Lemonade palette, the quality of it did not disappoint me and lived up to what I expect from Midas Cosmetics. And I love the true yellow monochromatic palette that this gave me. Okay, so coming in at number 2, I didn't say that, but the top 3 were really hard for me to pick which one I liked most because the quality of all the eyeshadows I thought was just outstanding. But anyway, Colored Raine's Safari Raine. Does anyone remember this palette? I feel like it came out this year. I don't know. I do know that I picked it up late and then I tried it late because I bought this right before I got pregnant and then I just didn't use it until this past month. But look at this gorgeous palette. These tones are so me. You guys know I love these kind of grungy, really, it's beautiful. I love this color story. It's very, very pretty. I love the greens in here. The gold is absolutely beautiful. So stunning. This shade as well, Lioness, is gorgeous. Her shimmer formula, or metallic, it's not a shimmer. Her metallic formula is out of this world amazing. Like, they feel so smooth and buttery on your finger. And they apply, we'll do the green one, and they apply just as smooth and buttery. Like every time I use this and would use it, I always use a brush. Every time I put it on my lid, I was just like, wow. Well, bam, it is there. The pigment is there. Look at that. It's just almost like a liquid, shadow. It is so intense. So beautiful. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Her metallic formula amazing. They do need a glitter glue because they are so smooth and whatnot. If you do not put a glitter glue on them, they're going to be up in your crease before you leave your makeup table, but with the glitter glue, it definitely helps. So something to keep in mind, but it stays just as intense throughout the day until you take your makeup off at night. For matte formula, I have no complaints there either. I thought the matte formula was really, really nice. Overall, I was very impressed with this. I think this is an absolutely stunning palette. Honestly, I love it more than my Queen of Hearts palette, just because the colors are so much more me than the Queen of Hearts palette is. The palette itself and the packaging is also really nice quality. I love the colors on the front. They really kind of tell the story of what you can find and the type of looks you can find inside. And overall, this was just a palette I had so much fun. I want to say I only created 3 looks, maybe 4, but I had such a good time doing all 4 of those, definitely, or 3 of those, however many I ended up doing, and definitely wish I could have spent more time on this palette because it is such a good formula. Colored Raine has such a solid formula when it comes to their eyeshadows that if you see a palette from them with a color story you like, I highly recommend you grab it because you're not going to be disappointed with the quality of her mattes or metallics. They are amazing. And for my last final palette for the #1 spot from the month, I'm sure you guys all guessed it, it is the Menagerie Killer Purr palette. It is What Is On My Eyes Today. This palette is gorgeous. I know when it first hit the sneak peeks and whatnot, or not even the sneak peeks, but the reveal of this palette hit, I honestly was just kind of like, it's a neutral palette. But I was still excited because I could tell definitely just from the promo pictures that it was a neutral palette that was kind of catered to me because it was a neutral palette that just had all of my vibes in it. So even though when I saw it and initially bought it, I was like, this isn't bringing anything super unique into my collection, I still wanted it because I was like, I know their quality is good and this will be my ideal neutral palette. And ever since I got it, I did eye swatches, which I can leave linked up here. I did a first impression. I'll leave links somewhere, probably down in the description box, but I've had so much fun with this. This is the palette that I did the most looks with just because I was having so much fun. I couldn't help myself from continually reaching for this. And there are so many shades in here that I absolutely love. Now, I do have to throw out there that I don't like either of the shimmers in here. But for me, there's only 2 shimmers, so I just kind of ignore them in this palette and move on. Nothing super wrong with Lioness, honestly. It's a nice shimmer. It's very smooth and it's very intense. Let me see if I can swatch this well. It's very smooth and intense, even with a brush or whatnot, and a little bit of glitter glue will pretty much keep it in its place, but it's such a bronzy type of neutral shade that is just not something I get excited to put in a look when I reach for this palette. And then this shade up here, Prowl, I don't like it at all. Too flaky, too thin, too hard to use, but ignoring those 2 in this palette, everything else about this palette I absolutely love and can't get enough of. This shadow I thought I wouldn't be too impressed with just because it was so, I don't know, so light. I just felt like it wouldn't really show up, and then it was such a unique type of yellow. I didn't know how I would incorporate it in looks, but it's honestly been one of my favorite. Not my top favorite because these 2 kind of trumpet over this one, but it's definitely beautiful. I have it as my inner corner highlight today as just a matte inner corner highlight, and I think it's gorgeous. But yeah, these 2, the Hunt and Boa Bob, absolutely gorgeous. Every time I did a look, I wanted to use those 2 shades just because they're so, so pretty. And I did today. I put the orange in my inner crease and then the green in my outer crease. And then I used Mighty Roar in my outer corner. And then I did a cut crease and put the watering hole on my lid, and yeah, then just put Drop for my inner corner. So that's kind of the look I had going. I took just a touch of Cub, which is this shade right here, and used it to blend out any kind of harsh lines in my crease towards my brow bone. But that was the look I did today, and I think it's so much fun. I was really wanting to use the watering hole in a really standout way. I know all the looks that I have going, or probably already showed, doesn't really show me using the watering hole at all, but I did use it in a palette bingo that hasn't gone up yet, so I didn't save the look. But you'll see it there, but I did want to use it in some way that really kind of just centered around the watering hole because it's such a pop of color in this very neutral palette, in my personal opinion. Not like pop of color, but it's the standout color in that all of these tones I feel like harmonize really well, and then there's this shade. Not that it doesn't go with the palette, because I definitely think it does. I mean, just looking at the artwork, which is gorgeous. But putting looks together and stuff, it was definitely one that was just kind of like, how can I incorporate this without just putting it on my lower lash line or something like that? So that's why I put this look together, and I think it turned out like a lot of fun. There's a lot of color, a lot of grunginess happening, but still like there's the clean cut of the cut crease, and I don't know, I really like how this look turned out, and it's really hard to say which is my favorite look that I've done, but this is probably the top. I don't know, I really like the first impressions look that I did, but then this is really, I don't know. I can't pick a favorite. So yeah, overall, I mean, can I just continue to gush? You guys know I love Menagerie Cosmetics. I just finished using the Whale Song palette last month. This is absolutely amazing. I love her Pharaoh palette. Those are the only 3 palettes that I have by her, but her formula of her mattes is amazing, and I think it's amazing and awesome that she came out with a palette like this, because all of her previous palettes are definitely more for the colorful at heart or someone who really wants to go bold with their color, like the Whale Song. If you don't like greens and blues, you're not going to use that palette. And the Pharaoh palette, while there were some pops of neutrals in there, it was definitely like very vibrant colors, and same with the Dragon Child palette. And if you're someone who doesn't like super crazy bright and just colorful eye looks, but you've been wanting to try Menagerie Cosmetics, this is the palette to go for. And her formula, honestly, I feel like is just as good as all her other palettes. So I cannot rave about this palette enough. I cannot recommend this palette enough. I cannot recommend Menagerie Cosmetics to you in just general as a brand. I cannot recommend them enough. I think that their quality is amazing. Their packaging and detail and quality in the actual just palette product is outstanding, out of this world, and the price is so affordable. Like, I feel like there's a decent amount of palettes in my collection where the quality of the palette is so much cheaper, but I paid like $40 or $50 for it, whereas this, I want to say it retails for $36. I want to say that's the retail price, and it's just such a nice palette. You can tell the minute you hold this in your hands and open it that there's just so much quality in this product. And like I said, the formula of her matte eyeshadows is beyond amazing. Hands down, probably my favorite matte eyeshadow formula if I had to pick one. It's amazing, so cannot recommend it enough. And yeah, Killer Purr stole my heart. I absolutely love it, and it won first spot from this past month of all the palettes I tried. Alright, so there you have it. I feel like overall I had a really good month. There were, the 2 at the bottom that had its little issues, but overall I still had really pretty looks, and then, the last 3 I just had so much fun. It was a really good month. For it being such a hard month for me for complexion and like my foundation, concealers, and powders, that was a bit of a rough period in November for me, but every day my eyeshadow game was always on point because I had one of these palettes to work with, and I just had absolutely so much fun with all of these palettes and all of the looks I created. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. As always, I hope my reviews are helpful for you guys and the pictures, and also, being able to see the looks I did. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for participating in my KateMas with daily uploads. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of work. It's been a little close calls here and there, but it has been a blast, and I am having so much fun. Can't believe we're getting close to the 25th. It's going by fast, and I hope you guys are having fun. But yeah, with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye, guys.